at the end of the month until November 7th. So all the prizes and all the rules and everything on the back of the card. If you're still filling yours out and you still want to get a couple more squares, perfect. And I will see them at the end of the month. But let's get started in child's pose so we can get moving and sweating this afternoon. So take a few moments to let yourself get settled in your child's pose. Fingertips out nice and wide. Connect them down into the floor. Let your hips settle back towards your heels. And give your opportunity, your body the opportunity, your brain the opportunity to land here on your mat and connect to the floor. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Fill yourself all the way up. Exhale everything out. Another breath like that. Fill up together. Exhale together. One more. Fill up all the way. Big exhale out. And start to build your Ujjayi breath. Long inhale with a pause at the top. Long exhale with a pause at the bottom. Purposeful and intentional so you can carry the rhythm of your breath through each and every pose all the way to the end. Downward facing dog. Keep building the breath. You can move your body around however you feel called to move it. Fingertips connected, toes connected, even your gaze connected to one point at the back edge of your mat. And walk your feet up to your hands, hang in ragdoll. You choose what you want to do with your hands and your arms, and then press the four corners of both of your feet straight down into the floor. Big toe mounds, the inner edges of your heels. Yeah, pinky toe mounds all the way into the ground. And press into your feet, rise all the way up to standing. Reach through your fingertips. Bring your thumbs to heart center. Set your intention for your practice. Pick one specific thing that you want to focus on. And we'll set out those intentions with 3 ohms. Take a deep breath in. Inhale, reach up, extended mountain. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift, lengthen. High to low push-up, step back. Upward facing dog, open up your chest. Downward facing dog, press back. Take a full breath in together. Push the air back out. Good, 2 more. Inhale. Big exhale. Last one. Empty completely. Look forward and move, feet to hands. Halfway lift, fold down. Extended mountain, press into your feet. Stretch up, forward fold. Halfway lift, chaturanga, low push-up. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Breathe in together. Empty it out. Yeah, purposeful. Breath in, push the air out. Last one. Empty to the pit of your belly. Step or jump to the head of your mat. Halfway lift. Fold down. Extended mountain. Root into your feet. Reach up. Forward fold. Halfway lift. Low push-up. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Breathe in together. Empty it out. Good. 2 more. In. Big exhale. Last one. Exhale completely. Look forward. Step or jump. Halfway lift. Fold down. Extended mountain. Rise up. Look up between your fingers this time. Forward fold. Halfway lift. Chaturanga. The breath sounds great. Keep that going. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. 3 breaths. In and out. Number 2. Exhale. Last one. Press your chest to your thighs on your exhale. Move forward. Halfway lift. Bow down. One more sun salutation A. Rise up to standing. Reach up. Fold. Halfway lift. Chaturanga. Keep the breath steady. Inhale up. Exhale down. Breath in together. Push the air out. Yes. Breathe in. Thumbs down on your exhale. Last one. Empty completely. All the air out. Spring forward. Halfway lift. Fold down. Chair pose. One breath. Reach. Fold. Halfway lift. Chaturanga. Upward facing. Downward facing. Right side warrior one. Step. Rise up on your inhale. Chaturanga on your exhale. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Left side warrior one. Step. Press. Reach. Low push up. Stay with the breath. Inhale up. Exhale down. Breathe in. Exhale. Good. Two more together. In. Empty. Last one. Push the air out. Feet to hands. Halfway lift. Bow down. Chair pose. Sink deep. Fold. Halfway lift. Chaturanga. Upward facing. Downward facing. Right side warrior. Step through. Plug your big toe mounds down. Chaturanga on the exhale. Upward facing. Downward facing. Left side warrior one. Step. Long, slow inhale all the way up. Chaturanga. Hands to the mat. Up dog. Downward facing dog. Breathe in together and clear it. Yeah, it can be a sigh if it needs to be. In. Exhale. Last one. Push all the air out. Step or jump forward. Halfway lift. Fold. Chair pose. Utkatasana. Fold. Halfway lift. Low push up. Upward facing. Downward facing. Warrior one. Step through. Send your heels into the floor. Low push up. Big breath and up dog. Let it out and down dog. Left side. Step on empty. Rise on your inhale. Chaturanga on the exhale. Moving the breath. Up dog. Downward facing dog. Moving the body. Making those two things sync together. One more breath together here. Push the air back out. Feet to hands. Halfway lift. Fold. Chair pose. Lift and spread the toes. Fold. Halfway lift. Chaturanga. Up dog. Downward facing. Right side warrior. Step on empty. Reach up on the breath in. Low push up. Breath out. Up dog. Downward facing dog. Left side. Step through. Plug in. Lift up. Chaturanga. Upward facing. Downward facing. Breathe in together. Big exhale. Two more. In. Empty. Last one. All the air back out. Step or jump forward. Last sun B. Halfway lift. Fold. Chair pose. Sit way back. Fold. Half lift. Chaturanga. Building the momentum. Upward facing. Downward facing. Warrior one. Right side. Stretch the sides of your body up. Low push up. Inhale up. Exhale down. Left side. Warrior one. One more on this side. Take your gaze up. Chaturanga. Up dog. Downward facing dog. Whew, there's already like energy percolating in the space. I like that. Send your right leg up to the sky. Bend your knee and open your hip. Stay or flip dog, your choice. Stick with that rhythmic breath. It's already been super powerful from the very beginning of your practice. Keep it going. And flip back over side plank. Go from big and expansive to hugged into center line. Everybody flex your ankles. Yes, and wake up your toes. Lots of legs in the air today. I like that. Even though the legs are apart, a leg is in the air, squeeze the muscles of your inner thighs together. One more inhale. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Left leg straight up and back. Bend the knee, open your hip. Stay or flip. Yeah, and it's a slow and mindful movement as you transition from pose to pose. Like there's space for you to stretch all the way out and take up the entire pose, then flip back over, side plank. Keep the breath steady. Even through the transitions, can you work on that? Like everyone practicing in studio and at home, I've been seeing your faces again and again and again. Can you keep the breath through the transitions? One more inhale. Chaturanga on the exhale. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Breathe in. Push the air out. Right side crescent lunge. Keep the rhythm of the breath as you set up the pose. There's something that shifts in the practice when you go from only breathing in the poses to breathing in the pose, in the transition, and in the next pose, in the transition. Come down a little deeper into your front leg. Yes. Stretch your torso up and out of your pelvis here. Get longer. Hands to heart center. Twist right. You can keep your palms touching or open up your arms. Up to you. How's your breathing here? Like even when you're twisted, can you shift where your lungs are expanding so that more breath is possible? One more inhale together. Stay for the whole exhale. Twist. Warrior two. Face the other way. Breath through this transition. Adjust the feet, adjust the legs, however they need to be, and then sink the center of your front heel down so much that you can soften your front toes. Yeah. Extended side angle. Elbow to thigh or fingertips down by your front arch. Blocks a super helpful tool here. And then you can stay here in the original pose or take a bind. Top arm behind your back. Maybe the full bind with your bottom arm underneath the front thigh. Steady breathing the whole way. That's really your litmus test of, should I add something on or take something off? Is my breath still present? One more inhale. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Take one breath in together. Reset with the exhale. Left side crescent lunge. Step through. Keep the breath flowing. Intentional and on purpose, because you can use those exhales to sink your feet deeper. Use the inhales to stretch yourself up and out of your pelvis. Good. Hands to heart center. Twist left. Palms touch or palms apart. Breath the whole way. If your neighbor or the person on the screen next to you is a little bit quiet, breathe louder, bring them back into the space. One more inhale. Stay for the exhale. Get complete. Warrior two. Up and around, and then you adjust the feet and the legs as you need to. So it might be that you take a longer stance today and try that on, or you lunge a little deeper in the front leg, try that on. Nice, Tina. Extended side angle, stay low in your lunge. Create the pose first, this basic extended side angle first, and then add on the pieces or tweak the poses you see fit. Could be a bind, could be a deeper lunge. You might be sticking your gaze right on one spot because you've noticed that your eyes are moving around. Like you get to customize and fine tune it. Beautiful. One more breath. Chaturanga on the exhale. Upward facing dog. Fill your lungs. Downward facing dog. Take one breath in. Full breath out. Step or jump. Feet to hands. Halfway lift, bow down, chair pose, and breathe. Way back into it. Settle into the space where your tailbone is actively pulled to the back edge of your mat. Hands to heart twist right. Open your arms. You can have the bottom arm between your knees or on the outside of your knee. You choose. Yeah, maybe there's a bind there for you. Maybe there's bird of paradise available for you. Create the fullest expression of this pose. Fullest variation of this pose. You're here for 3, 2, 1. Chair pose. Fold. First 2 fingers around your big toes. Stay with the breathing. It's been beautiful all practice. Keep going with that. Committed to that, first and foremost. Because the breath not only brings the oxygen in and out of your body, but it also builds up the energy in your body. It builds up the heat and moves the heat through your body. Release your hands, heel toe the feet back together. Chair pose, sit down deep. Down and back. Find the sweet spot where you can literally feel your low back stretching away from the rest of your body. Hands to heart twist left. Keep all that length. Open the arms on the outside of the knee or in between the knees. And then you go. You know what you're up to. Maybe it's a bind. Maybe it's getting your fingertips to the floor with that bottom hand. Yeah, birds. Beautiful. All the while, the breath following the work for 3, 2, 1. Chair pose. Fold. Gorilla. Step on your palms. Toes all the way up to the wrists. Yeah, and you bend your knees as much as you need to make that happen. You can take your legs mat width distance. Customize it. Make it work for you. Steady breathing. Even if the heart is speeding up, the breathing might speed up a little bit. Choose to slow it back down. Purposeful breath. Release the hands, crow pose from the head of your mat. Spread out your fingers super wide and tuck your knees up on your triceps. So whether the feet come off the floor or not, maintain that breathing. Where can you send the breath to help stabilize the balance of the pose? Nice, Adam. To help keep your brain down in your body and what's going on right now. One more breath. Step or jump, low push up. Nice. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Full breath in. Big exhale. Step or jump, feet to hands. Halfway lift. Fold down. Rise up to standing. Eagle pose, right side. Breath first and foremost. Intentional with it. And then you always have that choice to exhale through your mouth like a reset. To sigh, let that be a reset. Then back into your 4-part breath. Left side eagle. Left arm under, left leg over. It takes a while. It takes many, many times on your mat before you really step into the space of, okay, the teacher's saying poses and cueing this and that, and I'm in charge of what's going on in my body and how my poses are showing up on my mat. Right side eagle, second set. You're in charge of whether or not you kick your own butt. You're in charge of whether or not you dial it back and have a listening. So what do you need in each pose? You stop and ask yourself, is the breath still here? Okay, cool. What else do I need here? Right side eagle. Wrap, squat down. Eyes on one spot. What have we got? One more on the eagle, or did I give you guys an extra one here? Got caught up in what I was saying, and now I'm like, yes, and one extra eagle pose. Okay, standing leg raise right side. Grab your right raised knee or your extended foot. This pose and the next pose are definitely poses where the breath gets quiet, so keep that happening right from the start. Tall spine. Get the inner edge of your standing foot down into the floor. Good adjustments. Take the leg out to the right. Reach and look left. You got it. Eyes glued on one spot. There can be wobbling. There can be a reset of the pose. Your foot touches down and you just retake the pose. Come back to center. Airplane. Press your foot straight back. Reach your arms straight back. Breath. Use the exhales to help lift up the pit of your belly. Pull it into your torso. Nice, Tyler. I saw that. Slow and controlled. Half moon. Left hand to the floor. Right hand up to the ceiling. You can have your hand on the block or on the water bottle. Right back into the breathing. First thing. Then you do the fine tuning on the pose. Flex that lifted ankle a lot. Yes. Last breath. Both feet to the mat. Standing leg raise, left side. Grab your knee or grab the foot. Tall spine, lots of breath. You're in charge of moving the heat and the energy around your body. Open the leg to the left. Reach and look right. That was a huge shift for me in my own practice when I stopped relying on the teacher to provide me, like give up their energy so I could have the energy. Make it come from the inside out. Come back to center. Take airplane. And when it's coming from the inside out, it really gives you the opportunity to decide, do I want more heat here? Do I want less heat here? Do I need to shift my attention? Where do I need to put the attention? Half moon, open up. Nice transition, Kelly. And when you're in choice about that, you get to control where things happen, how you shift, what variation of the pose you're taking. And the practice is new every time you're on your mat. One more breath. Both feet to the floor. Standing bow or dancer's pose, right side. Soft crease of the elbow out for your standing bow so you can really get that shoulder blade on the back side of your body. Tip forward when you're ready. Yeah, and then you decide. Maybe the shin goes further back, the foot goes higher towards the ceiling, just bit by bit. Fill out the entire pose. Last inhale. Switch sides. Soft crease of the elbow faces out. Standing bow or dancer. Eyes set 1 point. Good control. And then control is not about not stepping out of the pose or getting wobbly. It's about maintaining the breath while the wobbling is happening. One more inhale. Switch sides. Right side, second set. Control of where your attention goes, not control of keeping your body ramrod straight. The aliveness, the energy can still happen in the pose. It can move around the pose, and you're still right here with everyone else. One more breath. Switch. Last one, left side. It's a big pose. It builds up energy. It gets your heart beating a little bit quicker. Step into the full variation of the pose for you. That lifted foot straight up to the ceiling. Nice step. One more breath. Feet to the floor. Tree pose, right side. Any variation of tree you want. So you went big and expansive. Start to pull things back to center line again. Take stock. How is the breathing? How's your gaze? Those simple building blocks, whether you've been on your mat 10 times or 1,000 times. Left side tree. You can choose the same arm variation or pick a completely different one. Steady breathing. Can you, from this point in your practice, now lengthen the inhales and lengthen the exhales? Normally, we don't really put that much attention on it until like the hip openers when you're more still. Make it longer from here. Nice, Neil. Last inhale together. Lift both feet to the mat. Extended mountain. Reach your hands up to the ceiling. Forward fold. Halfway lift. Chaturanga. Step or jump back. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Right side triangle. Step your right foot between your hands. Keep the breath going. I've been speaking to this a lot lately, that breath disappearing once we get to the grounding poses that start with triangle. Can you let that be your main focus through each and every grounding pose? Press your big toe mounds into the mat. Soften your toes themselves. Let them be light on the floor. Press into your feet. Rise up to standing. Side facing wide leg fold. Turn both feet to the long edge of your mat. You've got two options. You can do some ninja lunges side to side or work the fold. Yeah, bend one knee, sink to one side, bend the other knee over to the other side. If you're working that fold, find the tightest place in your body. See if you can create a little more space there by creating space somewhere else. So if the backs of your hamstrings are tight, it would look like bending your knees more than usual to give yourself space and then tipping the tailbone up to the sky. Nice. You've got another breath or two to get yourself situated, to get evened out. Press into your feet. Rise all the way to standing. Namaste, front facing forward fold. Turn both feet to face the front edge of your mat and then take a bind, either hand to elbow behind your back or reverse namaste. Hinge forward. Commit to the breath. You've kept this steady rhythmic breath the entire practice. Soft toes, nice check. Big toe mounds in the floor. Twisting triangle, left hand to the floor, your block. Right arm out to the side and up toward the ceiling. Both feet anchored into the floor, the twist just in the torso from the hips to the crown. You can stay right here, shift forward to twisting half moon. You'll shift your hand or your block further forward and float that back leg up to the sky. Use the breath. Help it integrate your core in and up to center line. Nice, Tina. One more breath. High to low push up. Good work. Upward facing dog. Open up your chest. Downward facing dog. Left side triangle. Step your left foot through. Build the pose. Nice wide base. Feet committed to the floor. Breath. Feet are touching the floor. Press them into the floor. Can you press them down without using the toes to grip your mat? The four corners of the feet instead in the floor. Lots of long sideways. I like that. Press into your feet. Rise up to standing. Side facing wide leg fold. This time with your bind. So you can clasp your hands at your low back or put a towel between your hands. Hinge forward. Here's an excellent place to focus on your breath because it'll help soften the muscle tissue in your upper back and the back of your neck. Even if your arms aren't coming all the way towards the floor, there's still space to be had with breath. Nice. Create a little more softness. Let your arms get soft on the exhale. Maybe there's more space to stretch on your inhale. Release the hands down. Rise all the way to stand. Namaste, front facing. Hands behind your back in a bind. Hinge forward. Lots of length in the spine, everybody. Keep up that good work. Breath while you're here. Twisting triangle. Use the breath to help create the twist. Lengthen on the inhales, twist open on the exhales. So maybe you're moving a whole inch every time that's happening. Maybe it's just a centimeter, but there is movement and space to be had every time you commit the movement to breath. Stay or twisting half moon if you took that on the right. Float that back leg up to the sky. Nice. Flex the lifted ankle the moment it's off the ground, even if it's just a couple inches. Flex and wake it up. Nice. High to low push-up you go. We got hands floating and legs floating, all kinds of things. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Take a full breath in together. Clear it out. Good. 2 more. In. Maybe a sigh. Last one. Exhale completely. Roll out to a high plank. Shoulders right over the wrists. Breathe from here. You can drop your knees if you need and keep the plank in your upper body. Slow as you can while breathing, lower to the floor. Good. Control. Committed. Breath to movement. When you get there, locust pose. Hands back by your hips. Rise up as slowly as you went down. Make it a methodical, on-purpose choice. Beautiful. There's a space that happens when you have a purposeful transition. The whole pose gets to come to life. 1 more breath. Lower down. Rock the hips left and right to release your low back. Second set, locust pose. Bind your hands at your low back. Rise up. Press the hands straight back behind you. Let them reach back the same direction your feet are going. Nice. Now squeeze your shoulder blades together on your back. 1 more breath. Lower down. Hips side to side. You got this. Floor bow. Bend your knees. Grab your ankles. We're taking 2, so you can take 1 leg at a time if you want. Press and rise up. Shins straight back. Chest straight forward. It's a point-to-point stretch. So the chest goes further forward. Shin goes further back. Those 2 points as far as they can get away from one another. Last breath. Lower down. Side to side. Doing that work, yogis. Second set. Switch legs or grab both again. Rise up and away from the floor. These back bends build one on top of the other one until you hit your peak pose. You just take as much space as you can across the whole front side of your body. Then lower back down. Hips side to side. Upward facing dog. Rise up off your mat. Lift and press your chest through your upper arm bones. Downward facing dog. Lower your knees for camel. You've got 1 camel this afternoon. Hands can stay on your low back or make their way back to your heels, but start with that chest lifted all the way up to the ceiling. Listen to the low back. If there's space for it, take the hands to the heels. If it feels like, okay, this is all the space I've got right now, keep the hands on the low back. Beautiful breathing. It's a tough pose to breathe in. Stay committed to it. Next inhale, rise up and out. Sit back on your heels for high hero. Long spine. If your breath got away from you a bit, it always does for me in camel pose. Reset it here. Swing your legs around. Come down onto your back for bridge. Press your feet into the mat. Rise up. Up and away from the floor. Purposeful and intentional with it. So hands can be bound underneath you or take cactus arms and press your shoulders into the mat that way. Big toe mounds down. Press them down. Good. Leg muscles into your leg bones. Squeeze them in. Lower your hips, knees side to side. All right, yogis, stick with bridge or move on to wheel. Tuck your fingertips under your shoulders. Press, lift, go. Up and away. Eyes glued to one spot. Big toe mounds in the floor. Tuck your chin and lower. Breathe in together. Big exhale. Number 2, press, lift, go. Bridge or wheel. If you feel like staying up in the pose and that's a good space for you, stay and see what there is to see. Otherwise, tuck your chin and come down. Breathe in. Breath out. Press and go. Number 3, rise up. Eyes set, breath set, intentional. Tuck the chin, lower down. Breathe in. Breath out. Number 4, rise up. Yeah, you're using the wave of the breath to rise and lift your body physically away from the mat. Then tuck your chin and lower. Breathe in together. Push the air out together. 5, rise up. You've only got 2 more. It's bridge or wheel. Eyes set. Breath still moving. Come on down. Breathe in. Breath out. Last one. Last bridge. Last wheel. Press, lift, move. Fully express. The whole body up and out. Tuck your chin and lower. Supta Baddha Konasana. Press the soles of your feet together. Let your knees drop out to the sides. How's your breath? Keep the breath moving. Happy baby or dead bug. Soles of the feet up to the sky. Grab the backs of the thighs or the edges of your feet. Whole back down to the floor. Back of your pelvis down to the floor as best you can. Legs straight up in the air. Set up for scissor legs. Hands can be behind your head or underneath your hips. Lower the right leg halfway to the mat. Take a breath in together. Exhale, switch your legs. Stay here, breathe in. Exhale, switch. Stay and breathe in. Exhale, switch. Keep going with the rhythm of the breath. Keep the exhales on the switch. Yeah, stick with it. If your movement starts to get ahead of you, slow it back down so it's matching the breath. Keep going for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Legs straight up. Hands can move to under your hips if you need support there. Lower both legs 30 degrees. Lower them 60. Lower to hover. Flutter kick the feet. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Legs back up. Reset. Belly down, shoulders down. Lower 30. Lower 60. Lower to hover. Legs open and close. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Legs up. Reset. Belly down and shoulders down. You got 1 more. Lower 30. Lower 60. Lower to hover. Tiny circles with both legs. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Legs up. Knees into your chest. Whew. The circles get me every time. Okay. Abdominal twist. Hands behind your head. Elbow to opposite knee. Go for it. You got it. Keep working through the stability. Press through the feet. Whether your ankles are flexed or toes are pointed, press out through the feet. Keep going. 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Knees into your chest. Rock forward and back 3 times. Boat pose. Last pose in the stability section. Rise up. You got it. Sit bones in the floor. Chest nice and broad. Good. Hands can be out to the side or behind your thighs. You choose. Collarbones wide. 2 more breaths together. In. Exhale, squeeze. One more, fill. Exhale, pull in, downward facing dog. Whew. I feel like stability is always a love-hate. Like either you really like it sometimes or you really wish we skipped it sometimes. Right side half pigeon, right knee to right wrist. You can certainly take this pose on your back if that feels better on your knees. Then you decide how far forward you bring the shin. Give your head a place to rest. On your hands, on a block, on stacked fists. Keep going with the breathing. It's been excellent all practice. When everyone's collectively working on that breath, not just in the studio, not just at home, but in the other 2 studios as well, practicing, a group of people practicing at the same time, the practice gets a little bit lighter. More challenging poses become a little bit easier because everyone's working together. Creating that sense of community together. Longer inhales, longer exhales. Let the inhales draw your diaphragm, that sheet of muscle below your ribs, deep down into your torso as your lungs fill up. Yeah, different sensation than filling up the top of your chest with breath. Let the diaphragm pull down into your torso. Double pigeon. Swing your back leg around and stack one shin on top of the other. And it could look a number of different ways. A knee in the air. You could have one leg straight out in front and have the other one across like a figure 4. Sit up nice and tall to start. Then you decide if you want to intensify the stretch and fold forward, go right ahead. If where you are is the perfect place, stay right where you are. Steady breathing. Use it as that litmus test. If it's soft and steady, maybe you lean forward a little bit. If the breath feels short where you are, dial it back a little bit. Fine-tune the pose. Downward facing dog. To left side half pigeon. Left knee to left wrist. Or left shin to your chest if you're on your back. Steady breathing. There's one major thing that I had when I first started practicing this style of yoga, this style of breath while practicing yoga. It really gives you this chance to reach out past the edges of your mat with your breath and connect with the people around you. Not having to talk, not having to have a specific facial expression or a hand gesture, just the breathing alone. Connecting you to the people around you, the other people practicing with you. You're standing in line, somebody seems like they're stressed out, you're at the grocery store, someone next to you feels like they've got a lot on their plate, just breathing to create a connection. Double pigeon, opposite shin on top. Get yourself situated in whatever orientation of the legs that works. Then you decide, stay upright or fold forward. The hips are a big joint. It takes a lot for you to get to a space where you can slowly coax them open. The whole practice, all of the poses before this point, loosening them up, lubricating them with energy, with heat. Frog pose. If you're facing your mat, I recommend using the mat as a cushion for the sides of your knees. If you're on your back, you can put your feet against the wall. Yeah, block under the chest or the forehead is always helpful. It's even more helpful when I say it before you're in frog pose and your block is out of reach. Yeah. It's like that sometimes. And though, if you're always using the block in frog pose, sometimes try it without. Very easy to slip into, oh, I always just do this in this exact way in this pose. And yes, choose the things that work for your body in the moment. And though, get curious. Do I want this thing right now? Is this variation the best right now? Or am I just doing that because it's muscle memory? Few more breaths, steady and rhythmic. Intentionally connecting to the other people practicing, taking the same pose. Everybody take one last inhale. Fill yourself all the way up. A big exhale out. Make your way out of the pose. You can army crawl forward if you're facing the floor until your hips touch. Yeah, and then bring your legs together. On the wall, you walk your feet in. Make your way back to your mat. Seated single leg extension. Right leg out, left heel in towards your right thigh. Fold over your leg. So you played around on the half pigeon a bit with using your diaphragm to help you breathe. See if you can breathe into the back side of your lungs. So if you're imagining your lungs expanding in 360, when you inhale, can you make most of the expansion happen on the back of your lungs? And if you have no idea what that feels like and you've never tapped into that before, that's fine. Just imagine that that's happening. The back of your rib cage expanding. Switch legs, left leg out, right heel in, or vice versa. And fold forward. Toe up to the ceiling. Yeah, so wherever your hands land, perfect. Just let them land there. Toes up to the ceiling. Press the center of your heel away from the body. Seated forward fold, both legs straight out. Hinge right at your hips. You bend your knees a little or a lot. Sometimes a tiny bit feels good, so you can stretch the backs of your legs. Sometimes bending the knees a lot, so you can lay your stomach on your thighs feels good. Both are the right answer. Tabletop or reverse plank. Plant your palms behind your hips. Fingertips face the front edge of your mat. Then you can have bent knees for tabletop or long straight legs for your reverse plank. Chest up, up, up to the ceiling. You'll drop your head back if it feels okay for your neck. I like to keep my chin tucked to lengthen the back of my neck. Yeah. One more breath. Lift. Lower the hips. Come down onto your back and let's get upside down one last time. So you've got waterfall with your back on the floor and your legs in the air. Shoulder stands, head there. Any kind of headstand, handstand work you want to do, now's the time. So no matter what you're choosing, I want you to work on one specific thing. So if you're in shoulder stand, work on bringing your elbows closer to center. Even if it's just a little bit, so you can get those elbows closer to center line. Basket headstands, press your elbows into the floor. Elbows into the floor. Waterfalls, pull the pit of your belly down towards the mat, especially if you're on a block, you've got a little more space to work with. Belly down to the floor. Handstands, work on your thumbs, the edges of your thumbs pressing into the mat as you're hopping. Nice. Headstands and handstands. You've got a couple more breaths and then child's pose or a high hero to reset. Shoulder stands to plow. Waterfalls can go to plow as well, or you can hang out in waterfall and keep that pose. Plow to deaf yogi. Hug your knees by the sides of your ears. Round spine. Slowly lower down, bone by bone. Bring your body back to the floor. Hug your knees in, give them a squeeze. Supine twist, drop the knees one way, twist and look the other way. Melt both of your shoulders down into the mat, even if that means your top knee is floating up in space a bit. How's your breathing? Take it all the way to the end of the practice. Supine twist, opposite way. Shoulder blades heavy, down into the mat. Supta Baddha Konasana. Press the soles of your feet to touch one last time. Let your knees drop out. If you're in studio, you've got a cold eye towel by the upper corner of your mat if you want to get that set up now, or you can wait till Shavasana. That's good too. Shavasana. Let your legs stretch out long. Stretch your arms out long by your side. You've done all the work you needed to do in exactly the way that you needed to do it. Take one last big breath in. Fill yourself up and up and up. Exhale it out. Let your entire body rest easy on your mat. Deepen your breath. Bring some movement back to your hands and your feet. And plant your feet on the floor and rock onto your right side. With your eyes still closed, press down and rise up. Take a comfortable seat. Inhale, reach your hands overhead. Exhale, thumbs to heart center. We'll finish up practice together with 3 final ohms. Take a deep breath in. Deep breath in. Exhale it out. Thumb knuckles to forehead center. Thank you all so much coming into the studio, signing in online, and making a sweaty, very breathy practice happen. Namaste. Good work, everybody. Okay, borrowed straps and towels and eye towels can all go in the hamper outside the studio. Blocks and everything else can come up here so I know which ones need to be sprayed off. Have an awesome rest of your Thursday, and hopefully I will see you next week.